everyone, welcome to the Pixel Chicken podcast. It's December, I guess it'll be the 15th when you're listening to this. We have a skeleton crew here, as it were. We are just running me, so I'm just going to talk to you for... I'm just kidding. We have Stryker also here.
Hey!
Oh, was that Crush Fuck?
No, that was just me. That was my Crush Fuck impression.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, it was pretty fucking good, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's almost like you got it down. We are Philip-less today, so we don't have
Philip
to deal.
Unfortunately got his head cut clean off.
Yeah.
Doctors are saying it's one of the only known cases of a head getting cut clean off.
Like butter.
Like butter.
He lacked some vitamins, and it caused his head to be just sheared.
Yeah, he tripped and fell. Head came clean off.
Yeah, it was kind of like a $1 Million Baby situation, only his head was severed. It's really messy. Actually, it was clean as it was kind of sexy in a way.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, so Phil, if your head is listening,
we miss you, man.
We miss you, man.
Wish you were here. Yeah, but Phil is in California, getting his
body is in California.
His head is in the trash somewhere.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh well, I guess this goes in the trash.
But his body is having fun probably right now. So
his
that's
body's
good.
getting its swerve on, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. Down in Cali, doing God knows what.
God knows what.
Probably bleeding. But yeah, it's just us two today, so we're gonna talk about some fucking video games, and hopefully it won't be a complete fucking train wreck, because I think Phil is the glue that holds us together.
Mm-hmm.
In some way he is. In some way he's also the random piece of fabric that you pull and your whole fucking shirt comes undone. So,
like a fucking Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Yeah. So he's both, but we miss him and hope he's doing well, as down there. So,
and we hope he's having fun and not getting sunburned.
Oh, he's getting sunburned.
Yeah,
he can't not get sunburned. God damn it, Phil gets sunburned.
Oh, he sure does.
Ooh, I remember the one time I went down to California with his dad. It was a really weird car ride, just me and his dad for like 18 hours to meet them. Yeah. Oh. He played a lot of Iron Maiden. So.
Oh yeah. You got to hear a lot of the same songs over and over again. I got to
hear the discography of Iron Maiden like twice.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't think I would like to listen to anything.
Well, luckily I had that my PlayStation 2 with that little. Did you ever see that little screen? That
yeah.
Like, hooked on? So I had
the
that.
Laptop type thing.
Yeah, I was able to shut out the world for a second and play some games like that. But anyways,
if I would have tried doing that, I would have viciously vomited all over the car from motion sickness.
I've never had any problem with it.
You're so lucky.
I know.
If I look down for honestly like 10 seconds on a car ride, I will start shitting my pants.
That's no life to live.
No, it's really horrible.
Oh man, playing games in the car is sweet.
I wish I could do
If you just tape it to the ceiling and look up, could you play it? Or
I've never tried that, honestly. I guess I could.
I don't know. That might be more trouble than it's worth.
I might get a neck ache then.
Yeah. You're just doomed, man.
Pretty much.
Anyways, we drove down there, and when we got there, I got out of the car, and Philip comes out shirtless, just fucking covered in saran wrap. Like he's a fucking saran wrap mummy. He's like,
wait, why?
Because he was so fucking sunburned. And
but what is saran wrap helping?
I don't know. It makes it so it doesn't breathe or something. I have no
An old
clue.
Colby family.
Yeah. Only the Colbys would do that. So
I've never ever heard of anybody doing that my whole life.
He was fucking mummified in saran wrap. It was bonkers. So.
How long did he wear saran wrap?
Fucking like 3 days, dude. He lived in it. That was his world.
He just suffocated for 3 days.
Yeah, it was fucking terrifying. And
I'd love to ask him on next week's episode what the fuck that is supposed to do.
Take notes of that because no one knows but the Colbys. And if anyone listening, please email us and tell us what that does because we're in the dark. So
yeah.
But
I know a lot of wives' tales and old-fashioned remedies. That is not one that I've ever heard of.
See, when I get sunburnt, I'm terrified of getting sunburnt because I get what is known as hell's itch, and it's the absolute worst thing. It feels like I don't even want to think about it. I'm just gonna leave it there. Look it up. It's the worst.
Yeah, I get more of like the achy. Like it almost feels like a muscle ache when I get sunburnt bad enough.
It's basically like. It's like, it's just like 1,000 little, fucking bites on the back of or where your sunburn is. It just feels like you're getting constantly, bit by, I don't know, ants or something. But it's the worst. It is one of the worst experiences I've ever had. And every time I get a sunburn, I know, roughly, 2 days after I get it, I'm going to be suffering.
Man, that sucks, man.
I had one at work, and I was just sitting there in my desk, like every fucking,
Jesus.
No, it literally makes my body tense up and I just sound like I'm getting beat the shit out of. And my coworker's like, "Are you okay? Are you shitting your pants?" It just sounds, I don't know, but it's rough. So some things. There's some video games to talk about, I guess. What do you? Shit,
well, what have you been up to first?
This week? So I was pretty sick this week, so I got some time to sleep, and in between those fits of sleeping, I got to play a little bit of video games. I played mostly Far Cry 4 and Dragon Age Inquisition. So which are you more interested in first?
I'm very interested in both. So just hit me with whatever one you want to, because I'm very curious and I'm excited to play both of those.
So I played more Far Cry 4 than anything. Probably 6 or 7 hours into it.
Good, because I've been wanting to hear about it.
Did you? Now you never played that much Far Cry 3, did you?
I played a bit. Okay. I mean, when I got it on PC and finally got kind of into it, I played a bit, but I just never. It just never grabbed me. I was playing it just waiting for the situation where it would do that, and it never. I mean, I liked it. It was a fun game.
Do you remember?
I don't remember. I mean, it was story mission wise. It wasn't too far into the story. It wasn't too far after. Let's see. You save the first person, and you meet the crazy doctor and go on the cave mushroom trip.
Okay, yeah.
And then after that, I did a few missions after that. When the last mission I was on, I remember kind of the reason I stopped is because it was on the opposite side of the map that I had never explored. And so in between point A and point B, I kept getting murked. So
by tigers?
By tigers. Fucking alligators.
Oh man, the alligators were the absolute worst because you couldn't see them until it was too late and they were rolling you into a fucking pretzel.
Yeah.
That's bad. So, Far Cry 4 sure is Far Cry 3. With a different setting. It's really good though. I was immediately drawn into Far Cry 3. Probably mostly because of Voss, but then I thought the actual gameplay was also really, compelling, at least for me. Yeah, I got really into the hunting and before I did most of the story missions, I just upgraded all my stuff. Went and found the biggest, baddest animals and went hunting and upgraded all that shit. And pretty much everything is intact in Far Cry 4. I don't know if I like the actual game map as much. In 3, they kind of segmented it up, the actual land masses into, with water, being a tropical island. This is all land. I mean, you're in the Himalayas. There's lakes here and there, but it's all just one consecutive piece of land. So I don't know if I like that as much. A couple of things that kind of stuck out to me. They've done a couple of really smart things. You said that, one of the things was like all the way across the fucking map, and those could be a super, kind of a big bitch to traverse, especially when there's fucking animals to hunt you down.
And there's so many like checkpoints. And
swarming packs of Komodo dragons that come out of nowhere.
Oh, that's fucking terrifying.
That was the worst. I remember.
I haven't seen that.
Really early into 3, I was at this house, just like kind of like looting, finding all the treasure chests and stuff, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was 4 fucking Komodo dragons just nipping at me, man.
That's really scary. In the house?
Yeah, they were in the fucking house, just nipping at me, and I couldn't shoot them because I was so scared. I just let them kill me.
Why the fuck were they in the house?
I think I left the door open or something. I don't know. Side note, do you ever have dreams where you're playing a game and you're terrified to die in the game because you think it's going to hurt?
I can't say that I have.
I consistently have dreams where I'm playing a video game and I keep getting specifically, it's always games like Resident Evil where there's really grisly ways to die. Mm-hmm. And I always am dreaming that I'm really afraid to get my head cut off because I'm scared it's going to hurt. But then it never does. Anyways, so in Far Cry 4, there's a lot of like really good additions for when we were saying how things are across the map. So there's 2 things that remedy that. First of all, there are helicopters, which you can just fly.
Ooh, like
and
that.
Second of all, I think the smartest thing that they've probably implemented in this game is there is an auto drive on cars.
Fuck.
So you're driving, and you just click in the left stick, and it'll turn auto drive on, and it'll just take you to your waypoint. And so that way you can kind of not pay attention. It'll drive for you because the driving's not that great in those games. They're kind of I don't like the forced. I get it, like the forced first person driving, but I'm never very seldom am I a fan of actual cockpit mode in games.
I love it in a racing game. In any other game, I just don't. I would much rather have it, especially when it's this game where you're getting like fucking shot at and stuff, exactly. And it makes a lot more sense to have it drawn out so you can see everything around
exactly.
you.
So like Forza, I play.
At least give me the choice,
So this, you click on the stick, the car drives for you, which frees you up to, make a sandwich or just sit there and shoot things. So like if you are getting attacked by a Humvee full of bad guys, you are free to shoot. The car will continue driving for you.
I wish every game had that.
Yeah, I can't believe no games do. It's like fucking ingenious. It's really quite a game breaker.
Yeah,
a la NBA Street 2.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, but and as far as like one of the things that made, for me at least, Far Cry 3 so memorable was like the main antagonist in Voss. I thought he was such a fucking brilliant, character. He's just his thing. You never knew what he was going to do. He was just fucking madness, and that was like a central theme around 3 is like going down the rabbit hole and the definition of insanity and stuff. And he was that because you never knew what he was going to do.
He was also incredibly compelling, and you find yourself wanting to know more.
Yeah, like I wanted, like, all I wanted was to see the next scene with Voss because he was really well acted, first of all, and
it's funny. This is a completely random parallel, but it's the same kind of thing in wrestling. When you're trying to separate like what makes a good bad guy and a shitty bad guy, and a lot of people don't know the distinction. And to me, the distinction is a good bad guy is somebody that you hate so much but you want to see them more because you want to hate them more and you want to learn more about them and their motivations and stuff. A bad one is just someone that sucks so bad and you hate them so much that you never fucking want to see them. And that's what I really liked about Voss. I mean, he was a really despicable bad guy, but at the same time, he was strangely, you want more of him.
Yeah, he's strangely erotic. Is that what you're going for? That's what you're going to say?
Not exactly, no.
Oh, Okay.
No,
All right. Sorry. But that being said, so the new kind of main guy in this is named Pagan Min. He's the guy on the cover,
Right.
in the suit.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, a little side note: Troy Baker's the fucking man. He does Pagan Min, and I didn't
know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and you cannot tell, and he is got a little bit of an accent, and it's really well done. And when I found out it was Troy Baker, I was like, hats off, because he's done
Troy
so
Baker. This is not the first time he will come up on this podcast.
No, that's true. I think I know what you're talking about. So
yes,
but yeah, man, he's got a wide gamut, I guess would be.
He really does. He's pretty incredible.
He's taking the throne away from poor Nolan.
Yes, I feel like Nolan North mainly I feel like he maybe gets typecast a little more.
Nolan North has a definite shtick about him. He's got that.
He does, but I've heard him do other stuff where it's very unique and he does really
the Penguin. That's what I like. Like when he's got a range. He's not he does.
Or
get typecast,
the
though.
guy, was it David in Last of Us?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that was him until the end.
Yeah, not to say that. I think you're right though. He does get kind of typecast into that. Oh no!
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily quite his fault as much as it's people that, because he made such a likable and awesome character in Nathan Drake that I feel like people kind of want to
people write characters like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Walker. He was really good as Walker.
Yes, yeah, that was a very good, more serious
Texas
role.
Ranger.
Yeah, great show. Trevette, pretty good. Let me ask you this about Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
You started off your impressions by saying it sure is Far Cry 3, and I've heard that a lot from people, and I just am curious: do you see that as kind of a negative thing?
No,
or
not necessarily. I really liked Far Cry 3. It's this whole thing with Ubisoft. They make that game. They make look at any, the crew even has it. They have towers that you climb to unlock parts of the map, and then you look at the map and there's 100,000 different side things. Ubisoft is making this game over and over again.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just the same, with very smart iterations. I think it's the same. They've streamlined a lot of things. The crafting's a lot better, but you are hunting certain animals to upgrade your loot rucksack and your wallet and your health and your syringe sack and everything like that. And then you are, going to radio stations and changing the broadcast to unlock parts of the map, and then it's Far Cry. I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think Far Cry 3 was an excellent game, and I think the writing also, obviously it differentiates in the writing, and I think the writing is honestly pretty good. I was touching on Pagan Min. I don't think he's a different kind of villain from Voss in the ways that he is. Just much more kind of sinister. Voss had a certain thing about him. He was definitely evil, but he was just fucking batshit, and he wasn't. I wouldn't maybe call him sinister as much as he was just chaotic.
Yeah.
Pagan Min is.
He was a bit more of a Joker type villain
he was just
than
about
he was.
I'm just gonna fuck with you because. I want to. Pagan Min is...
He was an anarchist, sort of.
Yes, exactly. Pagan Min is much more regimented, kind of he's more of a pure evil than Voss was. They have that... There's that spectrum of, chaotic evil and chaotic good.
Yeah.
And he's more on the side of just, kind of orderly evil. Not to say he's not an intimidating... He's very well written and definitely well acted, and that lends it to being... very kind of intimidating, but I don't think the fact that it was. I think what they need to do is they've made this game twice now. I don't think they can get away with making it a third time and having it be as successful. At least in a critical standpoint. Obviously, people are going to fucking buy it because people like to pretend like people aren't going to stop buying games. But to continue with the quality, I think they've made some really nice choices. I think Ubisoft really needs to make some kind of revolutionize their
formulas.
Yeah, their formulas. Like, take a step back. Okay, they've struck gold twice. I think Far Cry 4 is fantastic. It's really good. But they've struck gold twice now. They need to think about okay, what can we do to change this formula and not make it not end up ruining a good thing. So
because their formula carries across in a lot of ways between like their Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. It's a very similar type of formula. So you play both games, and they're very different types of games, but they share a ton of qualities.
The fucking climb up a tower to synchronize with this tower and unlock parts of the map. Like even the crew has that. They have satellites that you drive up to that you have to like find, and sometimes drive up a mountain or something and find the satellite to unlock parts of the map. Like they found a way to canonize it in a driving game. So I think they, and that's there's touching on Dragon Age also, like BioWare has said, look to Dragon Age Inquisition to see the framework of future BioWare games. So that's ostensibly like Mass Effect 4, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
So it's this like these big developers with big publishers just kind of like not making new games, making the same games with incremental. Like everything is becoming Call of Duty. Everything is becoming the same base game with minor tweaks here and there.
Yeah. In a way, in the general sense of gaming, games are becoming more and more similar rather than distancing themselves further and further apart from. As far, at least successful games are.
AAA games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AAA games are more and more similar than they are more and more unique.
Yeah, exactly.
As time goes on.
And, there are still good ideas. Like, it's not to say...
Absolutely.
The reason it is because everyone's on a fucking annual schedule now.
Yeah, an annual schedule, and they're because of the annual schedule, I feel like developers are more forced into refining than innovating.
Yeah. And it's there's a lot of exactly. There's a lot of really smart choices in Far Cry 4. That being said, it's the same goddamn game as Far Cry 3 is, just set in a different world with a different story. And story's good. I'm really enjoying it so far. There's a lot of really well written characters. It looks fucking beautiful. I'm playing on PC, and it just looks goddamn gorgeous.
Yes.
So.
Far Cry 3 looked incredible, too, and it ran really well. That's one thing I really liked about it.
This one runs fucking... I have everything set to Ultra. Not a fucking hitch. It's smooth as butter, which is weird considering the Assassin's Creed debacle, but I don't know what engine... what the differences in engines are, so there, but...
What, have you tried playing the co-op? Because I've heard that's one thing that really sets it apart.
I haven't. So I hear that, so you can do... the second player jumps in as a character named Herc, who's this fucking kind of like, like, Nom-esque, like, fucking America, like...
I can tell exactly what kind of character he is just from his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Without ever having seen or heard of him.
Bandana wearing, cigar smoking, Flight of the Valkyries, explosion. Yeah, eccentric, kind of a dipshit, honestly. He's kind of dumb. Like the first time he rolled up, he just, he spouted all this, like, fuck yeah, bro talk, and I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him to really make a call on his. He's obviously, they wrote him that way. It's not a mistaken like identity, like try to make him funny and he comes off as a douche. They wrote him as a fucking dumbass, that's for sure. But yeah, so I guess you come in. The second player is always Herc, and I haven't tried it to answer your question. I don't know. I haven't ever got a solid answer on whether or not you can do story missions in co-op. I'm not sure if it's just the secondary, what are they called? Outpost takeovers and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you can actually take the second player into your story missions. So, which is kind of upsetting, but I'm sure it would be fun. There's enough kind of open world jank in the Farcry, kind of gameplay to make that probably really fun. Hunting rhinos. I'm sorry. I know that's probably a soft spot for you.
Yeah, I am a big rhino fan.
Yeah, but let me kind of make.
I'm just gonna pretend that virtual rhinos are not endangered.
They're not fucking kind of adorable in certain ways.
Yeah, strangely adorable.
They're impossible to kill though. So,
as they should be.
I was trying to kill. So there's a mechanic in the game. If you kill an animal with a bow or a knife, you get a clean kill, which nets you double the skins. So I've been trying to kill everything with my bow, just also because it feels way cooler than pulling out a
Yeah, I know what you mean.
A pistol and shooting it. But so I was stalking this rhino, and they look really nice. Like they move like a rhino would, and they're fucking huge and scary. So I was stalking this rhino in the bushes, and I put an arrow in his head, and that didn't do anything, and he eventually saw me and started fucking charging me, and it was the most terrifying thing ever. So I instinctually just pulled out C4 and threw it at him, and fucking blew him 6 feet in the air, which damages the skin and causes it to be unusable. So I have not killed a rhino yet, and actually got in a clean kill on him. So, oh man, it was scary though. It was terrifying because they're fast and they don't give a fuck. They're a rhino.
Yeah.
But there's some really cool like the biggest, like there was a tiger in Far Cry 3. Like there's fucking elephants and rhinoceroses and stuff like this, but of all the animals, the worst has been the honey badger.
Ooh.
Yeah, because that guy doesn't give a fuck.
No.
He just rushes you and he's terrifying, man.
Does he really?
Yeah, they see you and they just go, ah! And then they run at you with their tail
God, that
out.
sucks. That sounds really scary. I didn't know they charge people.
Oh, dude, honey badgers. So after I don't know why, but I was playing this game and fucking shot a honey badger and it was terrifying. And then I went on Netflix and for some reason saw a documentary on honey badgers. And I decided to watch it, and it was called Honey Badgers, Master of Chaos. And the very first
the honey badgers are the boss of the animal kingdom.
they're just like, oh, this is a nice fucking zebra. And so they're just like, apparently
I just want to see the jungle burn.
So apparently they just don't care. There's like there was this one honey badger just taking on 3 cougars, and he was just like growling at them, and like he didn't give a fuck. And so halfway through, he was in this this kind of like reserve with a bunch of lions, and the honey badger dug into the lion cage and fucking fought the lion, this huge male adult lion, and just like ran through his legs and bit his dick.
I can't help but think back to the famous honey badger video where the guy's like narrating it, and you know what I'm talking about, where he's talking about the honey badger not caring and stuff.
Yeah, honey badger don't care, man. They literally don't.
I didn't know that was actually fucking accurate.
They don't care at all about anything. They're just gonna fuck shit up, man.
I wish a honey badger was my spirit animal.
Oh, goddamn. That'd be the best.
Sadly, it's not.
No, sadly, it's my spirit animal is a a dead opossum on the road.
It just keeps getting ran over.
Yeah.
Until it's clearly two separate pieces with a tire track through the middle.
That's my spirit animal.
They're really depressing, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, man. It's okay. I make it work somehow. Anyway, so yeah, it's good. It's
good.
I'm
glad.
So I'm playing out on my TV with my my PC hooked up through an HDMI cable, and I'm using a wireless Xbox controller. I don't know if you've ever experienced the shittiness of a 360 controller that has a battery pack that comes undone.
I have had a few that not the battery pack actually comes undone and like falls out, but it becomes loose enough to where it just turns off.
It's that pretty much every 360 controller I've had has had that problem, and it's infuriating.
I hate 360 controllers. Their design is great, but they are pieces of shit, and they don't last for more than a year if you're lucky.
Yep.
And I'm not rough with the controllers either.
No, I'm not. I haven't thrown a controller since I was fucking 15, probably.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I'm very careful with them, and I have one that's like 2 years old, and it works just as bad, or lack of working, as the controllers that I have that are like fucking 5 years old.
Yeah, so for reference, I bought this controller, 3 months ago?
Yeah,
4
probably
months
around
ago, and so I keep playing Far Cry 4, getting in gunfights or having a fucking rhino chase me, and then just like not moving. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, the prompts appear on screen as keyboard prompts.
Perfect.
And I've died upwards of 20 times this way, and so
mine would work consistently until I'm playing online Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was always nice.
Oh man, so that's been really frustrating. So I go on, and I'm always like, this happened to me with my 360 controllers for my actual 360, and what I did with them is I just stuck a penny in the between the springs on the bottom of the connectors, so it kind of added more room and caused them not to come undone.
Right.
But somehow I fucked up this time, and I closed the battery pack, and it just didn't work at all. Like I had messed up some connectors somehow, and so I tried to open the battery pack, and it was fucking stuck, like legitimately stuck shut. And so I kept trying to turn it on, and then I picked it up about 15 minutes later, and it was probably 130 degrees on the battery pack. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening inside there. So I was afraid it was going to explode and my hand was going to be severed. And so I just I took it out and I put it on my porch, and it's just still there.
That's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, it was really hot. It was hot.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, you can blow up out there. I don't care. What's it gonna do?
Blow your door off the hinges onto you while you're in the kitchen, and the door just fucking blows
me half in half. So, yeah, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to fucking figure that out and buy a new battery pack or something. I'm hoping I can just pry it open with a screwdriver and go buy a new rechargeable one from the store or something. But
I think my favorite thing when I bought an Xbox One and all the games and stuff, I was stoked to play Forza, Sunset Overdrive, all that. But my favorite thing, Master Chief Collection, my favorite thing about it was looking at the controller and realizing that it has the battery pack under a sliding, back part that is just a separate piece. So it's not all one fucking, piece of shit that just falls off.
Fucking plastic. It's a great fucking controller. That controller is really good.
I really like it, and I may be in the minority, but I like it better than the PS4 controller.
I don't know yet. I like the triggers possibly more than anything in the world on the Xbox One controller, because they've got that little soft felt touch when you.
Yes.
It's a nice feeling controller. But I'm not sure yet. I do really love the DualShock 4.
I love it too. I've told you my feeling about it. Mainly just for sprinting. Any game where sprinting is involved, it makes me not like the DualShock 4 as much.
Yeah, I agree. It's but yeah. Anyways, it's the only problem is that I can't. My computer is in a different room from my TV, and I can sit at me, so I can't really have and it doesn't connect wirelessly. Yeah, there's no way to wirelessly connect it that I know of, at least. There might be some fucking dark arts way to do it with some like third party software, but I don't want to get into that. So
yeah.
But anyways, I've also been playing Dragon Age Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
heard really good things about it.
Oh god, so far so good. It's I never really was a fan of 1 or 2 for that matter. I played
Same here.
6 hours of 1. It just didn't really grab me.
I just didn't like I didn't like the eye aesthetic. I didn't like the design much. I mean, it was, I appreciate BioWare games. Mm-hmm. I really I love Mass Effect 2 and I liked 1, but Dragon Age just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't really like it that much.
I played it more than I played it like 6 or 7 hours probably, and it just never. I didn't really care for the story. I just didn't, and I didn't touch 2 because I heard a lot of shitty things about it, and it didn't really run that well on my computer at the time. So, but Inquisition is a fucking fantastic game. It's got a lot. So, it's much more open than 1 and 2 were both kind of linear games. Like there was kind of these open and these kind of open environments, but that's changed a lot in Inquisition. There's absolutely huge environments to go around in, and it feels a lot like Skyrim in that like you're picking up quests and you're doing side quests and all that kind of stuff, and there's a lot of crafting involved, and every system is really well thought out and pretty well implemented into the game world. But one of the my favorite parts is just it's a really well designed world and well thought out like lore, and it's all political. It's like,
and your music is literal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sorry, man. I had to.
You're a criminal in the game, and you got a little baby girl. Sorry. I hope someone catches that, man.
I hope so too.
But it's like it's all based on like its class and social status and different ideologies all warring, and it's pretty compelling in that way. A lot of literature, in-game literature to read, which must be a weird job to write in-game literature.
I've always thought that. There is some shit that is so in depth. I remember in like Oblivion reading really fucking long like pieces of literature. Yeah. And that's some guy's job to just write some long ass book about a certain class or something like that.
Yeah, about a day in the history of Tamriel, or I don't even know the word. Yeah. Anyways, but it's just got a good feel. It just feels really nice. It looks fucking pretty gorgeous. Like it's definitely a step up from previous, at least what I remember, Dragon Age games. The one thing it's not really clicking for me is the combat so far. So basically, you have a party of 4 people. You can control any individual person at any time, and you've got your your skills. It kind of plays like a standard computer RPG. You've got your skills that you can map to. You map them to the X. I believe the Y, X, Y, B, and then the right triggers. So you have 4 skills at any given time, and you can hold the left trigger to swap to a different set of skills. So you have realistically 8 skills at any given time. It's got a pretty robust skill tree, but the combat, at least at this point, and I want to preface this by saying I haven't really gotten into any larger encounters. Where I actually have to use some kind of strategy. So at this point, you hold down the right trigger to to kind of auto attack. So at this point, I'm kind of just like walking up to guys and holding the right trigger until they're dead, which isn't really compelling.
Yeah.
So, but like there was a kind of a flash of brilliance when I did have. I take it back. I did have one kind of larger encounter at the end of the prologue where it was a boss battle, and I was kind of, my characters were actually dying. I was having to, like kind of think about my skill use and kind of think about my positioning on the battlefield because that actually has a lot to do with it, like where you kind of stand on the battlefield if you're getting backstabs and that kind of stuff. So positioning my rogue to be in the right kind of area to, backstab the guy and positioning my, switching over to my mage really quick to stun the guy so my rogue could get into position to get a backstab and that kind of stuff. So I can see in kind of larger scale encounters where it could get pretty rewarding to kind of strategize that way and stuff. But
that's another game I'd like to try the co-op of. I'm sure that would be.
Is there co-op in that game?
Yeah. There's I don't know. They're only for certain types of missions, and I don't know the game well enough to know. I've been told from somebody that was playing it that they're only for like certain. I don't know exactly the type of mission or whatever, but there is a element of co-op that you can do for certain missions, and it's supposed to be pretty fun.
Well, if you happen to procure it, get it on an Xbox One, and we can.
I'm planning on
try
it.
That
so.
out. Good. So yeah, but it's there's also you can press the options button, I believe it is, on the Xbox One, the one on the left, to go into an actual like tactical view where it turns into kind of an XCOM like.
Right.
It goes top down and freezes time, and you kind of plot your moves like that, which I haven't really messed with. Again, I could see that. I don't want to mess with that in an everyday just plain enemies. I could see that coming more in use when kind of like dungeon bosses and stuff like that, where you really need to think about your moves, or else you're just going to get fucked. So, really enjoying it. There's a lot of side quests, a lot of like talk. It's a BioWare game. You're talking to a lot of people. Like all sorts of all sorts of dialogue trees. The one thing that I fucked up on, so it's got a pretty robust character creation, which is pretty nice. It goes really in depth, and I actually got my character to look really cool. I really like him. So
it's hard to do. I think sometimes I make my character look cool, and then when it goes into the actual game,
you see his side profile or something, and he has a
perfectly flat face.
Yeah, or his chin's just like is like a fucking 179-degree angle. There's just no. It just goes straight into his fucking chest. So I got him looking really sweet. Like he looks fucking badass. Like, but then I went to choose his voice, and like you get to test it. So I was like, okay, that kind of sounds that sounds like what I want. Is like kind of a booming like how about you or something like that. But then I get into the game, and something happened to his voice, and he sounds like he's in a witness protection plan. Like I'm asking questions, like for instance, I'm saying like what's wrong, citizen? And he goes, what's wrong, citizen? And it's just I can't do it justice. It's just it sounds fucking comical almost.
It sounds like he's like getting interviewed. You mean like in all black?
Yeah, yes.
And his voice is
it sounds like the voice that Odd Future uses in all their songs, like the demonic like. Oh God, it's so stupid. So every time he talks, it's seriously like immersion killer. Like
that really sucks.
So, but I'm like 7 hours in. I can't go back now. So I don't know what to do.
Did you not hear him talk like at the beginning of the game?
I did, but it sounded like really like heroic at the beginning. It was just like, citizen, I'll help. And now it's like, it's
that really fucking sucks,
fucking
man.
Blows, dude. It's no good. So, but yeah, that's more to come on that game because that is going to be a long journey.
Yeah, I've heard it's like 1,000,000 fucking hours of game.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. So
I've seen some of the most unique locales in that game. I don't know if you've gotten far enough to like check out the other places, but I just in like a few of the videos I was watching, it's like fucking like a desertous area.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I'm really excited for is because I've been to one kind of the opening zone, and I guess there's this kind of overmap. There's this world map that you can send out spies to find if there's like intel there that you need, and there's these huge kind of gigantic maps, and then there's these kind of little one-off areas that are smaller and segmented and kind of have their own little story too. So I guess there's a lot of different environments. Right now I'm in this kind of stereotypical low fantasy, foresty. It still looks really nice, and it's still got a lot of personality in it. But yeah, I've seen like this deserty map and kind of like these Everglade-looking, like marshy swamp areas. And I'm really excited to see what that has to offer. Kind of side note, I really want to play the crew. I hear it's not great, but I'm kind of a sucker for big, huge maps, and I kind of the main thing that's drawing me.
I really want to try it.
I want to try it just to see, because I hear there is, obviously it's a faux all of the United States. They've got a lot of different environments, and I kind of want to see what they have to offer. But yeah, I'm excited to see where Dragon Age takes me. So it's kind of it's kind of it for me as far as gaming. So what about you? What have you been up to?
I haven't really got to do a bunch of new shit this week. I got Injustice from the PlayStation Plus thing, and I've been playing that a little bit and having a lot of fun with it. And I can't help but think back to, I don't know if you remember this game, but when I'm playing Injustice, I keep thinking back to this game called Justice League Task Force for Super Nintendo.
I don't recall.
And it was a one-on-one fighting game starring a bunch of DC superheroes, but it was the 90s version of all the DC superheroes. Okay. So Superman had a mullet.
Oh, perfect.
Wonder Woman had huge, giant hair that was curly.
I did not think you were going to say hair.
A huge, giant bush. No, she also had, huge tits, of course, like overly large.
Yeah.
And
10-inch waist.
Yes, exactly. And Aquaman also sported a mullet. And it was just like real dark and kind of gritty, it had that 90s style that the comics were. Anyway, I don't mean that the game the Injustice has that, but for some reason when I'm playing that game, because the last other than Mortal Kombat versus DC, which I didn't play a whole lot, I haven't played, it's been a long time since there was actually a DC only fighting game.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's funny because there's just parts of that game that make me remember that game. And that game was shitty, Justice League Task Force, but I really enjoyed it.
Do you like Injustice?
I really like Injustice. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of good things. I like NetherRealm Studios. I like the way that they design fighting games, and I like the interactivity with the stages.
Yeah,
I really like. I think it lends itself well to a superhero game because they're, it's just if you're gonna have that in any game. Superheroes make sense because they're whether it's comics or the animated movies or even the live action movies, they're always fucking punching each other through buildings and all that kind of shit. And their fights are always on an epic grand scale. So I like it. I'm not a huge fan of watching human characters like Batman.
Batman getting punched through the earth.
Punched through the earth or punched from space down to the earth. That doesn't make a lot of sense and kind of odd for a game that takes as much care with the characters and is detail oriented. I thought that it's kind of jarring, but overall, it's a really fun game, and I'm glad I'm having fun playing around with it now. And I played it a little bit when it first came out, but not a ton. So it's fun to finally get around to it. But we can just go straight into the if we want to talk about the. I guess we can talk about the Sony Experience Conference.
Let's go over that. Yeah.
So I guess one other thing I remember that they announced. We'll talk about it afterwards. But I guess No Man's Sky. We can talk about that one. They showed They showed a more in-depth gameplay video of that. And Did you get to see it?
Was it it's set to music, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, it's about 3.5 minutes or so.
I don't recall how long.
I saw it.
It shows them like panning out of,
and then they warp to a different star system altogether and stuff.
It was. When they were zooming out, I was like, "Holy fuck!" It was like 45 seconds.
That game is made
them
for me.
Zooming out, and
that game is literally made for me.
Literally, they fucking called you.
They were like, "Hey, man, what do you want?" And I was like, "Well, if you could make this universe and I don't know, make huge fucking monsters that look scary." I don't know. That was a bad. I don't know. Anyways, God, fucking man, I don't even know what to say. Like,
I gotta say, I'm still not quite convinced with that game. I mean,
I completely. Let me preface. I completely understand where you're coming from. I would like to hear more about your feelings on it, but yes, What are you not sold on?
I don't know what you do.
You don't.
I don't know. I get that you. I know that they actually went into more detail shortly after the video came out, released the thing, and I mean, I read that and I was like, okay, I kind of get it, but I'm still. Your objective is to like get to the center of the universe, and you'll find something special there and everything. But I'm still not quite convinced that at the scale that the game is supposed to be, which is the biggest game I've ever fucking heard.
Well, it's the biggest game ever made. I mean, I feel comfortable in saying that.
I don't get how they can fill it with enough content and with his kind of a not generic, but with his kind of a broad story as they're going with for it. Yeah. I don't get what you're going to be. What am I going to do when I'm sitting there for like 4 hours playing this game? Am I just going to fly from planet to planet and then walk around and look at animals?
The idea of emergent gameplay is kind of one that's kind of permeated a lot of games recently. You know, it started with kind of Minecraft.
Yes.
Evolved into a lot of different. You know, it's kind of creating your own. Or like things happening, you know, creating your own story, creating your own conflicts and that kind of stuff. So, I think the main thing that No Man's Sky is trying to accomplish is like you have to. So like you start out on a planet, and you know you have this goal of getting to the center, and you know maybe you start out with nothing but you know a gun and a shovel, and you have to then go out and scavenge and explore this planet that is unknown and find like cave systems and elements to eventually build a spaceship. But let's say that spaceship can only go so far. You'll run out of fuel, so you have to stop on a brand new planet that's never been explored. With ostensibly brand new fauna and flora, and
find some sort of. It seems to all be about gathering resources to make it to your next.
Yes, exactly. And that is where the kind of emergent gameplay comes in of, finding, maybe you find some kind of, open conflict in this world that you find. And they haven't talked a lot about it, but they have dropped hints of there will be a malevolent force in the universe, and who knows what that will be.
I hope it's fucking Galactus.
That would be fucking awesome. Just but like it's and maybe maybe that's not for everyone. Like building a game kind of around that. But I vastly enjoy Minecraft. I vastly enjoy kind of that emergent style of gameplay.
And the thing is, though, I mean, as far as Minecraft goes, you have the whole other aspect of building stuff in the game.
But you are. I mean, you're in this. You're like adding components to your spacecraft from resources that you find on and upgrading your jump drive so you can fly, so you can jump further and warp further, and you're upgrading your character with new armor and weapons and stuff like that you find. Materials for on planets.
Yeah.
Like it's not just you are building up your character and your ship and gaining new items and abilities from that. And I'm sure they have more that they've kept a lot of it really close to the chest on this one. Like
they have, and I think that does two things. It gets you very curious, which is which is good, and it doesn't give away everything about the game, so it's very mysterious. But it also causes people to build these giant expectations for something. Yeah. And I mean, people are talking about like all these things that they want to do in the game that haven't even been that there's no evidence that that's even going to be in the game yet.
Yeah.
So and that kind of worries me. And in the game, I think this game could be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm just I'm very weary of getting too excited about it because I don't even know all the elements and stuff that go into the gameplay of this of this title. So
the main thing that appeals to me, and if it works, it'll be enough. Is that seamless flying around, seeing a planet, going to it,
absolutely.
Entering the atmosphere, getting on land, and seeing, like at the end of that thing, they seamlessly saw a planet, flew to it, got on land, and there was these huge fucking weird aliens. And
they were frightening, by the way.
I've read a lot of like reports from the Hello Games guy. It's Hello Games, right? Yeah. That like go into how exhaustive of precautions they are taking to, like, have you heard of their setup to make sure that, to kind of their QA setup as far as planet building goes?
No.
So they have a server that they've built, this proprietary like thing to. They basically have a server set up to do flybys of worlds. So obviously there's going to be millions and millions of worlds, and they've had this thing set up to at any single, like, there is just a robot flying around worlds like 1,000 at a time, and they have these. The way it was described to me from people who have seen it, people in the industry. There's this screen with like 1,000 little images, like kind of GIFs images of all these little like robots flying around planets, and just making sure that nothing looks like there is maybe too many planets with purple skies, or too many planets with really high like hydrogen. Like they are literally simulating the sky will be or this oceans will be red because of too much iron. It's not like just like, hey, this ocean is red. They're like compiling these planets, and then the things are, the planets are being built because of their composition and that kind of stuff. Like the animals will there's a certain, set of animals, but a vast number of kind of life, but they will be altered in ways that kind of fit the planet's composition and the gravity. So you might see like a four-legged animal on a high-gravity planet that's really like short and stocky, but then you might see on a low-gravity planet, or a planet that's like they alter it that way. So they have these robots going thousands at a time, just flying by planets to make sure like there's not too many red skies, or there's not too many purple moons or something like that. So they're definitely going to an exhaustive amount of caution to make sure that you're not getting 400 million planets that are exactly the same. So
I mean, if the game, let me rephrase this by saying I'm not trying to be negative and say that I'm not excited
about it. I'm not trying to be
about
like a fanboy about it. I'm just
sure.
Yeah.
And if the game comes out and like all you do is fucking fly from planet to planet, I think that would, if it's like in with all the exhaustive stuff that they're going through to make each planet unique and stuff like you were just saying, and if all you're doing is exploration and stuff like that's fucking cool, and I would really enjoy that, because the space and space exploration and stuff is awesome to me. But with that said, I just don't want to build up my expectations to be thinking, oh, I'm going to do this in the game, and then they're like, no, this is the game comes out and it's not. That's not what you do in it. So
and who knows how it's going to play? Like
exactly.
We'll see. It's. You're right. It's hard for me, at least. It's hard to not get super fucking stoked about, because it's like exactly what I want.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And that's I think that's slated for 2015.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it next year. So, fuck, I don't know. That's exciting. Anyways, yeah, and the trailers, like, it just lends for good trailers. Like seeing those, flying onto a planet, entering the atmosphere, and then seeing the scale of it when you get down to the ground, and it's
sexy music playing.
Yeah, yeah. What else came out of the PlayStation experience?
Fuck. Let's talk about Uncharted.
Let us talk about Uncharted. Oof. I don't even know where to start.
Yay! Well, let's just start with what's apparent from the first time you. It looks fucking incredible.
Oh my god,
it's beautiful.
I'm sick of people complaining about past E3 movies and. Have you seen all the people like, oh, it didn't look like it did last year's E3 in the teaser trailer?
I saw somebody that posted and they were like, look at his hair, it looks different, and I'm like, okay.
What kind of fucking person are you?
Is that really what you want out of your games? Is the best hair physics possible?
I mean, in wrestling games, yes, because you want Triple H's hair to look good. But
that's true. Oh yeah, I'm excited for No Man's Sky, but how are the hair physics going to be?
How's his hair? I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Like, shut up. It looks incredible.
Dick. It looks fucking balls out good.
Did you get to watch like the whole entire extended gameplay?
The 15-minute thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. So
one thing that I thought was really cool, there's obviously Naughty Dog is incredibly detail oriented. And there's so many little things in all their games that they add that you wouldn't maybe even think of expecting from a game, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about them. They really put a lot of care into each game. But I noticed a lot of little things, like I told you when he was like climbing up the ledge that he was like kicking the guy, and if you look close you can see the guy has like a bloody nose from him kicking him. And, he's like sliding down the muddy hill and he gets up and there's like mud all over him.
That's Naughty Dog is kind of
one of the
best.
I can't think of anybody other than maybe Rockstar.
Yeah. But at the same time, Rockstar is, I think Naughty Dog gets the minutia better than Rockstar. I think Rockstar, can craft a larger world that is,
I agree.
In that, but like the tiniest minute details, and like I've been playing The Last of Us remastered, and just the tiny, like when Joel pulls out his gun, he kind of gives like a gasp. He's like he's not, like it's just those kind of things that don't happen in other games that Naughty Dog gets so right.
Yeah,
and like the little like bloody nose from a kick. You don't see that in any other game.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed, another big detail, just gameplay wise, is that the whole how am I trying to say it? The whole design of that level or that area, whatever you want to call it, was, especially when he gets like into the shooting and action oriented part of it, was really brilliant, I thought, and just the sense of verticality, like there was always something going on, whether it's above or below him, and there was a lot of little. There was a lot of just detail put into that small segment, and obviously, with any game when they're showing a demo, they're going to pick the best part.
Exactly.
But I have enough trust in Naughty Dog to know that that's just going to carry over into the actual game itself, and I liked how it was transitioning from action to stealth to action to stealth. Over the course of that 15 minutes, I mean, he was like sneaking around on several occasions and then going into a full-blown shootout and then sneaking around more. And I really liked that detail because that's something that haven't really had in past Uncharted games. And just, I mean, it looked a lot like, it just looked really fun. And I'm very curious where the story is going to go in this game.
Yeah.
Because at the very end, it shows that he has a brother, I guess, and he's voiced by Troy Baker, and he looks kind of sleazy. So I'm very curious about it. I'm glad that it has still kind of the same Uncharted humor as
I
well.
wonder if they're friends.
Troy Baker and they are.
Nolan North. Are they?
They are in real life. Yes,
that's great.
They are friends.
Happy. Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know. That waterfall looked really good too.
God, and when that guy like slammed him up against the wall, and the water was dripping on his head, and then you could see his hair from the weight of the water kind of get pushed down because it was wet.
Yeah.
That kind of detail and stuff, I can't think of another development team that gets that kind of stuff right.
There is none. There is none. I think they are far and away the front runner on the minutia. So
the other thing unless you wanted to say anything else about Uncharted,
I think we've covered it. More to come, I'm sure.
Yeah. The one thing that this is going to transition, I wanted to talk about this anyway, but it was announced at the PlayStation Experience thing that Street Fighter V is going to be a PS4 and PC exclusive. And it's supposedly going to have PC and PS4 crossplay.
Really?
Which is, I'm very curious to see how that will work. But
wow. That's the first time that's... I can't think of another game that... I didn't know that little piece. I can't think of another game that's done that, actually.
No.
That's always the dream. That's
always the dream, and I know that games have strived to do that in the past, and it hasn't worked out so well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it does for them. I was very surprised when I first heard this, and I remember when we were talking about it, I even told you, I was like, I seriously doubt it's going to be a full-blown exclusive, probably just a timed exclusive, and we kind of agreed on that. And then the very next day, or maybe even later that day, they came out and said, no, Sony is going to be the only console you ever play this on. And then Phil Spencer came out and had that quote about they wanted to invest in their own fighting game.
Yeah, fuck that.
Which is Killer Instinct. So
I don't like Killer Instinct.
I like it, but it's nowhere near a Street Fighter.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not even. How could you even have the two in the same sentence? You know, they're on completely different levels as far as popularity with the fighting game community. You know, so I was just surprised to hear that's, but you know, that's his opinion, whatever. But I'm very excited.
He has to have that opinion, I think.
Yeah, I think he does too. But with that said, he could have released a statement without even talking about Killer Instinct. It was his choice to come out and say, "Oh, you know, whatever. Things happen. Deals don't get made, but we have our own fighting game to worry about." Yeah. So,
well, I don't know. It's what was the most striking thing about the trailer to you? Besides the exclusivity, was there anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I actually didn't. There was a lot of things that even I, as a longtime Street Fighter player, didn't catch, and luckily there was a few people that were that I had read some stuff that they were basically going into detail about every new mechanic that they noticed while watching the trailer. Yeah. And they actually just today or yesterday released the full-blown fight of one-on-one with Ryu and Chun-Li. Yeah.
I didn't know.
And when I was reading about the mechanics is when it really started to set in that this is going to be I feel like it's going to be more like a Street Fighter 3 than Street Fighter 4, which is exciting. It's going to be a lot more offense oriented. They have things like guard breaks where you can basically only guard for a finite amount of time before your guard gets broken by an attack.
Like Smash Brothers.
And like Smash Brothers. And that was something that they had in previous Street Fighter games. Yeah. Which I thought was really nice. They have a lot more like air combos, it seemed, from the trailer.
Correct me if I'm wrong. 3 is kind of like the... Is it... I remember hearing that 3 was kind of like the competitive golden standard. Is that true? Or at least
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say that 3 is the most highly regarded in the Street Fighter series from the fighting game community standpoint.
Yeah. As far as like technicality and stuff.
Exactly.
Now, it's not. I mean, Street Fighter 4 is obviously more prevalent in actual competition.
Right, and that's just because Street Fighter touched more. I mean, Street Fighter 3 was on one console.
Yeah.
It was on the Dreamcast, which was a dying console anyway, and it was. I think they re-released it for PS2. Yeah, rest in peace, Dreamcast. But Street Fighter 4 was, when it came out, it was pushed heavily. Another thing about Street Fighter 3 is not only was it released on a dying console, it was released in a dying genre.
Exactly, and
the fighting game genre at the time was on its last legs.
Mm-hmm. And then Street Fighter 4 comes in and kind of it's like everyone gets a zeitgeist about it because it's like,
exactly,
hey, a fucking fighting game, holy shit.
Yes.
And a Street Fighter nonetheless. Now,
Street Fighter 3 probably, I've never seen the sales figures, but I don't even know if it sold all that well, but it is among the hardcore, fighting game community. It's held in a very high regard because it was a technically incredible game. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
There were things about it, like as far as like the fucking characters and stuff in the story that I didn't like as much in some of the new characters. But I appreciated it because it tried something completely new and it basically dumped the entire roster of the Street Fighter games. It wasn't until Street Fighter 3 Third Strike came out that they brought back like Chun-Li, and I think they brought back Akuma. I don't even know if he was in the... But basically, when Street Fighter 3 first came out, it was
Ryu in it?
Ryu and Ken, and then an entirely brand new cast of characters.
Huh, wow.
And I respected that, and I loved the game. It played brilliantly, and it was one of the most beautifully animated games that I've ever seen to this day. And so it's nice to see that it's going to be more offense-oriented like Street Fighter 3 was. And I'm curious to see if there's going to be parries, because that was one thing that Street Fighter 3 introduced. You've like the famous Evo moment where he parried everything.
I can still watch that. Not even knowing a whole slew of fighting knowledge. I can still watch that and have my mind blown.
Yeah, I mean So I'm very excited about it. I liked what I saw. I'm curious to see where it's going to, what's going to take place. They also announced, actually, now that I think about it, in the trailer today that they released, like the extended one, they showed a teaser of Charlie coming back.
Ooh.
So at the very end, it shows like these glasses on the ground, and it's like iconic because he's the only character that wears these glasses, and he picks them up and puts them on, and then he has like a glowing dot on his head. And somebody pointed out that the main like villains in Street Fighter 3 had that same like design on their head, and I don't know if it's like some mind control thing or if he got brought back to life and maybe he's going to be like the main villain. But I'm always a big fan of seeing old characters come back, and Charlie was, I really liked Charlie, and he was like one of the only guys that didn't come back in Street Fighter 4.
Fucking cool.
He is cool. I like Charlie, so that was cool to see.
Yeah. That's awesome. So. Is Charlie some kind of... Is he related to Guile or something?
He's Guile's like squad mate.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he ended up dying, and that's why Guile, I think story-wise, that's why Guile joined the tournament, was to find out who killed Charlie and what happened. Okay. So.
Gotcha. You play any more Guilty Gear Xrd?
I didn't, because I'm hoping to get the actual game now.
Okay.
So I just kind of decided to lay off of the demo until I get the full game. So.
How about any Mugen?
No, I'm trying to stay away from that too. Just
all right. You can fight as Kid Goku, man. He's like 3 pixels tall.
Yeah, you can fight as a stick figure.
Oh man. Well, is that all for the play? I mean, the order. I don't know. I'll play it.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that the order is going to be anything super special. I feel like every video they've shown has shown a little bit more to kind of set it apart from...
It's Insomniac, right?
Yes. Or, it's a... no, it's... is it?
I thought it was.
It
I'm
is.
sure it's Insomniac. That being...
I thought it was... It's a developer that's only made portable games up until the order.
Oh, it's Ready at Dawn.
Yes, Ready at Dawn.
And they made they were pretty well regarded for their PSP. God of War games.
Yeah, God of War.
It looks fucking beautiful. It looks gorgeous. And who knows? Who knows? There's nothing really on fire about it yet. So I'd like to play it just for the graphical spectacle, at least.
And maybe it'll come out and be an awesome game, but so far all they've showed is just really basic.
The shooting and the story might be really fucking good. Like,
yeah.
So who knows? Who knows? But it looks really fucking nice. Every time I see a screenshot, I'm like, Jesus, Lord, how do they do that? So, anyways,
what did you think about Final Fantasy VII coming, but like, not being just a regular ass port?
It's a fucking slap in the face. Like, so I've bought that game in 3 different forms. I bought the disc, I bought PlayStation Network, and I bought the Steam version. And now you're asking me, I have that fucking game on PSN. What are you doing? Like,
why would they make it such a huge announcement like it's going to be a remastered title and then just be like, oh, it's just another port.
Yeah, like, oh my god, dude. Like, it was just a bait and switch. Like, they totally wanted to make you think, they're never going to remake it. I don't even want them to. Like, at this point, I thought that was bullshit. Like, it's just shitty. Also to do, like, people own this game. You're just, because you know people are gonna buy it. They're just like, oh my god. I don't care that it's not a remake because I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I'm more just grossed out that they would do it and portray it like they did.
Tease it just if all they had to do was just be like, also coming in 2015, PSN to PlayStation Network, Final Fantasy VII. Like, why make it this long drawn out teaser like it's gonna be something that it's not? Like, what the fuck?
And and some people are like, hey, I've never played Final Fantasy VII. Like, I'm kind of excited to play it for the first time. I'm like, guess what? You're probably not gonna have fun because it was really good in the day that it came out, and the people who still rant and rave about it as being one of the greatest games ever played it in its time. Those games, I think, for new people, like first-time players, don't stand up. Like, I played them in their time, and like, you know, like you remember games fondly, like they were amazing games, but games have just gotten better.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna like
mechanics have improved and been refined, and not just the games themselves, but
like writing's gotten better, mechanics, and you know those games. Final Fantasy IX is still my favorite game of all time. Like, and I'll play it front to back countless times. And I will for the rest of my life probably. But I wouldn't expect someone to like play that for the first time and be like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest!" Like, you might enjoy yourself, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna have the same effect. It's not gonna blow your fucking mind like it did in '97.
I agree.
So I don't know. The audacity of them releasing it again. I don't even like. Probably going to charge $15-$20 for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what the fuck, guys? So, I don't know. That's kind of like a slap in the face.
River wants to know, what the fuck?
Yeah, I want to know. I'm gonna tweet at Shuhei Yoshida and be like, what the fuck? WTF, dude? So, should we move on to the Phil fuck you? I'm going to take the role of Phil.
Oh, I was hoping that we'd just have a countdown and then like 5 seconds of sheer silence.
Of just silence. And then I come in and I'm like, so I want to talk about Kill Switch for PS2.
So I want to talk about Killzone.
Yeah.
Oh, Killzone Shadowfall? No. Killzone 1.
Killzone 1. I think it was alright. I want to talk about Second Sight. I really liked the band Cold in that game. So.
I want to talk about the similarities between Second Sight and PsyOps, the Mind Gate Conspiracy.
Yeah. They both had shitty 90s post-metal bands doing songs for them. So
yeah, they did.
Surprisingly, both pretty good games, actually.
I love PsyOps.
Yeah, PsyOps was great.
Second
Sight was pretty good. So, no, I think... We're actually running pretty long, which I didn't expect. So
I didn't either. So I mean, that's. I didn't have anything super pressing other than that.
Oh, yeah, you wanted to talk about NXT, didn't you?
Oh fuck. So yeah, that'll be quick. So
yeah.
you're familiar with NXT.
I am, yes.
You know what it is. So they have NXT on Thursdays and pre-taped, hour-long segments, and it runs just like any regular Raw or SmackDown show would, but it's much shorter. Mm-hmm. And generally, it's much better quality wrestling because they give them more time to actually wrestle. They don't stand in the ring for 20 minutes and talk. And
yeah.
Anyway,
and they've also got ostensibly something to prove, right?
Yes, very much so. And they've got a very talented roster. So not only do they have that, but they've had a few specials called NXT TakeOver, and they are actually live on Thursdays. And it's almost like their version of a pay-per-view.
Okay.
And they had one on this Thursday called NXT TakeOver R Evolution, which is a weird subtitle, but it was one of the best front-to-back wrestling, pay-per-view or wrestling shows that I've seen in a very long time. It was absolutely brilliant.
What are some of the NXT stars? Would I know any other names?
I don't know. The main event was for the NXT title. And it was between Sami Zayn, formerly known on the independents as El Generico, and then another guy named Adrian Neville, who is just known as Pac on the indies.
I think I might have heard of him, the latter guy, but I'm not entirely sure.
Gotcha. So these now the NXT roster is made up of part of like maybe half guys that have been known on the indies forever and are just looking to make it into the WWE. Yeah. And then it's also made up of young and up-and-coming guys who are getting trained and, built up to be on the main roster. Yeah. So it's, it's very, very well done. The main event was just incredible. And then the story going into it was really well done and well thought out. Basically, Sami Zayn has been trying to get the title for the better part of a year and is always coming up short. And then he finally won it on their takeover special. And then there was a debut from another famous indie guy who came out and had a pretty cool, quick match and beat up a dude. So it was just front to back. It was just amazing, and it made me realize how much, in a lot of ways, NXT is better than what's on Monday Night Raw. And from what I've heard, there's a TLC pay-per-view tonight for the main roster, and I guess they're very motivated to not be upstaged by NXT. But cool. I just hope that it kind of lights a fire under their ass and gets them to step their game up, because for so long, I mean, since 2001 or whatever it was when WCW folded, there's just been no competition, and I feel like that's in some ways caused a lot of staleness in wrestling, and that's just the nature of how it goes, unfortunately. But there's been a lot of bright spots since then, and a lot of things have happened. Not to say that's not the case, but overall, it just feel like there could be more intensity and more people trying to steal the show and having these awesome matches that. You used to have pay-per-views that were just every match was you had to see. Yeah. Now I feel like I end up fucking fast-forwarding until I get to the last 2 or 3 matches.
Do people ever get hurt anymore?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that get concussions and fuck their shoulder and knees up. Yeah, guys get hurt pretty frequently.
Hey, competition's good for everyone. So if NXT is bringing it, then.
I would highly recommend watching NXT for you.
When's it on? Thursdays?
I think that it's just enough to get your fill, and it's very entertaining. It's on Thursdays. Unfortunately, it's on the WWE Network, but it's an hour long.
$10.
Fucking awesome.
A month. Yeah.
Yeah, $10 a month.
So kind of on the wrestling tip. While I was sick, I had some time kind of just laying in bed when I didn't want to really get up and play a game. I played some mobile games. And I downloaded a game called WWE Supercard, which is a card game based around the the WWE stars, and it's kind of shitty, but it's kind of just a good game to waste a bunch of time on.
Yeah.
So, you want to hear my deck?
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. So I don't know who the fuck this is, but he's kind of my bread and butter. I have a super rare Christian.
Oh, Christian. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I got a rare Hulk Hogan. Looks
Nice.
like a pretty kind of earlier Hulk Hogan. Got an uncommon The Rock, wearing a Just Bring It kind of tank top thing. I've got a uncommon Ultimate Warrior who looks like he just stepped out of a bronze bath.
He did. He did.
Did he? Okay.
A bronze and cocaine bath.
I have a Big John stud.
Okay. Yeah. Big John stud.
And then you have to have a diva on your deck at all times. So I have Ava Marie. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah, she's
shitty.
She's kind of shitty.
Okay.
But it sounds like you have a pretty solid deck.
I've got a Rey Mysterio here, but he kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's kind of cool because like there's uncommons and there's like 10 different sets like uncommons and commons and rare, super rares, legendary, epic, and that kind of stuff. And every I have the super rare Christian and then the common Christian, and they're like different pictures. So it's kind of just a big
cool.
like fan thing, and each of them has their individual stats, and you kind of play to their stats and can augment them, and then you can. I really like the fact that you can
augment them with human growth hormone.
But you can take your your lesser cards and fucking actually feed them to your better cards to make them more powerful, and there's a fucking animation of the cards eating the other cards. Oh, and the best part is that when you are playing a match, you actually the cards go into the ring and like fucking suplex each other and shit. And they get up on the fucking turnbuckles and fly onto the other cards. It's just a stupid way. Anyways, I just wanted to.
You've sold me.
Yeah, it's free too, so it's a good fucking time waster. And man, my record. What's my record right now? 30 wins, 4 losses. So I'm doing pretty all right. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do a weekly update on my deck. That would be really stupid. See where I get. Anyways, I think that's it. Unless we have anything else really cool to talk about. I hit 800 games on my Steam account, which is disgusting.
Nice, man. That's gross.
It's really gross. The Lego Movie video game was my 800th.
Well, you ended on a high note.
On a banger, yeah. Oh, I don't know. It was like $3.
Well,
yeah. That's.
I can't blame you. $3.
That's about all I can say. So.
Yeah, that's all I have. So.
I feel like okay. That's it. So. Anyways, we don't really have Phil to take us out on a weird noise, so I don't know how to end this.
I guess we'll both try and just do our best to make a weird noise.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like you're better at that than me. You have a more. Okay, let's. Should we count down or should we just make a noise?
Let's just fucking make a noise.
All right.